This giant city that stands for law, that knows the law before the birth of the law, whose pathfathers wore the golden hairs long before its children were born. Ask the women of this city if their husband's authority is not stronger than the 8 commandments. Ask the mothers of Yorinsa, who collectively give birth to a man who combs the laws before the eyes of judges. AGF Abdurazak, the first northern Nigerian icon to the life of the law, who spins the pride of the gown in the eyes of the city. Check the call book and scout who served the high bench like railway tracks. Late Justice Mahmoud Belgore, Babatunde that speaks truth to power and makes justice stand taller than the court. Do not speak of the code of conduct. The law humbles himself before Kawu. Kawu uses the law to inform and protects the masses with his oath of office. The wig and gown is the first mutawali. One is the honest man who frees the law from the grips of corruption. Second is the man who silences or stops the drum of injustice. Luminary is Omayilabo, Isholaopo, the learned Taban, the white elephant who stood as a pillar of justice. Ilorin Afonja, this house built by Alimi, home of the learned Sikh and gown.
Do you know, apart from Arabic and Islamic scholarship that has earned the city of Ilorin the appellation of Iluafa, the home of the learned among Yorubas and Hausas, other disciplined notes that Ilorin as a community has excelled exceptionally is law. And that is why I have made it a priority to bring to the limelight the city of the learned personality, as lawyers often love to call themselves. I am Aisha Soindamola Additional, and I want you to journey with me as I peruse through the success stories of lawyers and jurists in Ilorin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, orúkọ Ọlọ́run la fi bẹ̀rẹ̀, Ọlọ́run àjọkẹ́ ayé àṣàkẹ́ ọ̀run, bí òṣòdò a ò lè gúnyán, kò sọ́kàbí kò sórógùn, mi ò lè pèdè láì júbà, kí láì tèmi ọba ńlá, tó fún mi lọ́gbọ́n pẹ̀lú òye, tí mo fi ń ṣe síkìrì, Triple S mo tún ti dé, Sulemana Sàròmí Sàlátì, àrọ̀ tọ́tún lélẹ́yìn, mọ̀jà tànà kò kọ́ tẹ̀ni, ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ òtítọ́, ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ bá mi ká lọ, Ìlọrin ni wàláhì, Ìlọrin ni ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ.
For Ilorin, the legal profession is referred to by some as an hereditary birthright. It is difficult to come by any educated family in contemporary Ilorin without at least a lawyer. That many indigents of the Emirates have toiled the ladder of legal profession with sterling impact is a testimony. Besides, some families are famous as having a famous jurist. Families like the Belgores, Alkali Sokoto, and Alfai Kokoro are Kombis among many others, whose forebearers were outstanding Islamic jurists. The present generation of those families could be said to have inherited legal practice from their progenitors, who displayed great versatility in the study and application of Islamic jurisprudence for more than a century. To the descendants of such distinguished families, law practice is considered as a sacred inheritance which they must perpetuate to ensure that the labor of their heroes past does not end in antiquity.
Ilorin is a city of justice. You remember in the old northern Nigeria and in the history of the spread of Islam, great jurists of Islamic jurisprudence grew in Ilorin and spread the tenet of Islamic jurisprudence. And there are lots and lots of them who have achieved these great heights. And that translates to the fact that generations after generations want to be identified with jurisprudence, administration of justice, and generally I believe that transcends to a lot of families wanting to be part of that great revolution of jurisprudence. When the Western jurisprudence came, that is English law, many families also keyed into it, so that you don't have only Islamic education and Islamic jurisprudence and a Western judicial system embedded in one system. So in Ilorin, you know that there were, before the coming of English jurisprudence, Islamic justice system well established. You have the Sharia courts. So that's why even now you have the Sharia Court of Appeal or Sharia jurisprudence. You also have the English jurisprudence. And great families like the Belgores, the Akambis, the Kaus, the Oninyongis, and their father, Justice C.G.F. Abrazak, who was the first senior advocate of Nigeria from the northern Nigeria. A great man, a legal colossus.
The uniqueness of legal practice in Ilorin is not just about the number. It's about the quality of practitioners and the quality of practice here in terms of advocacy. And that is why, compared to other larger cities than Ilorin, the number of senior advocates that have come from this jurisdiction is quite commendable. So it's the quality. Of course, the Mertaba, the Emir of Ilorin, never practiced in Ilorin, even when he started joined practice in the 60s. Baba Akambi of blessed memory never practiced in Ilorin when he started. In fact, he now opened an office in this city shortly before he was appointed to the then Federal Revenue Court in 1974. The same thing for Baba E.G.F. Abrazak, SAN. He never practiced in Ilorin. But those who really practice in Ilorin, many of them are not from here. Some were from here. Among the indigenous people, so to say, is Alhaji Aliyu Alarapi Salman, senior advocate of Nigeria, who became SCN in 1987. So he was the first resident practitioner in Kwara State at that time to become senior advocate of Nigeria here. So Ilorin has been a home of quality legal practice that has impacted all over the country and even beyond the shores of our country.
Ilorin, the standard of law practice in Ilorin, in Kwara, is one of the highest in Nigeria. Look at a lot of the top senior advocates today, Chief Boyega Awomolo, Chief Wole Olanipekun, Chief Bayo Ojo. They're not practicing in Ilorin anymore, but this was their roots. This is where they started. Then you now talk of those who are even still here. Malam Yusuf Ali, Rolando Taru, Obad Delodo, and so on. So what I attribute it to is just the fact that something here that people have values. People have genuine values in Ilorin, and I think that is reflected in the work. For the lawyers, I can tell you what I think it is, because Ilorin being at the center, until recently there were no flights. So lawyers from Ilorin had no problems getting into the car, going to Court of Appeal in Kaduna. From Court of Appeal, Kaduna, they will go to Jos before they come back to Ilorin, only to come back to Ilorin and then go to Ibadan and go to Lagos. I don't know of lawyers anywhere else in Nigeria, but there's that. So I think the culture, local culture of people being honest, being hardworking, being open and friendly, is probably what has contributed to that.
Ilorin has been a trailblazer, if I may put it that way, as far as the field of law is concerned. that from late Alhaji AGF Abdulrazak, who was called to die in 1955. And who happened to be the first lawyer from northern Nigeria. Automatically, the first lawyer from Ilorin. It's been a very attractive date for indigenous of Ilorin, such that today Ilorin boasts of very, very, very many notable, practicing and noted lawyers in this country. Of course, if you have people informed and they are doing so well, they serve as inspiration. They serve as role models for those coming behind. So the good fortunes of the early ones that we have mentioned definitely would have a bearing on the number of lawyers that Ilorin has turned up now. There are role models that we cannot run from at all.
Well, I think it has to do with us, who we are, what we are. You see, the emirate is structured in such a way that the emir and his chiefs hold traditional courts where they resolve disputes between our people. That had been going on from time immemorial. So it was like a natural progression from the traditional setup to the English system of justice. So our people who were used to the traditional ways of resolving disputes in the courts of the emir and the chiefs quite naturally progressed into studying law under the ambit of English law, and some of them ended up as judges and some ended up as lawyers. So for me, I think it's just a natural progression.
Ilorin properly, we discover it is very unique in that it's been able to produce many firsts when you think about the legal profession in Nigeria. For instance, Ilorin is one of the most unique cities in this country that has been privileged to produce a Chief Justice of Nigeria, a President of the Court of Appeal, and a Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, all from the same city. Is an unusual thing. And of course, when you talk in terms of even legal practitioners, you discover that Ilorin has fared quite well. The city has produced 2 presidents of the Nigerian Bar Association, a national secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, and so many prominent lawyers who are among the leading lights in the profession in the country today. So it's an historical thing. The foundation was well laid by those who started it. And of course, I forgot to mention also that even when you talk about the first senior advocate in the whole of northern Nigeria, you'll be talking about the late Alhaji Abdulghani Folonso Abdulrazak, senior advocate of Nigeria, the late father of the current governor. So it's an historical thing. Unfortunately, successive generations have built and consolidated on this.
Is so special in the field of law is simple. Firstly, the accommodating nature of the town, of course, which over the years we've gotten influx of people from outside the state that came to the state, and particularly were staying in the state capital to practice law. And of course, it provides an avenue for cross-breeding of ideas. Of course, when you see people coming from Lagos, Oyo, Ekiti, Osun State, and even some other parts of the northern Nigeria coming to establish their law firm in Kwara State, and precisely the state capital, the implication is this: you have the opportunity of locking horns for and against the best in your profession, and automatically it's going to improve the standard of legal practice in the state. In addition to that is even the historical background of the city itself, which of course a city largely built on the Islamic way of life, which I would call the Sharia law kind of a thing, and invariably it has its own implication in its own. Definitely, being a city that is based on the Sharia law, which is also a segment of the law that is applicable in the country and in the states. The implication is this: even without the conventional academic pursuit, of course you have a fair understanding of law. I will call it, maybe you call it God-made law before the man-made law. So it's also a plus for the city.
The pioneer legal practitioner of Ilorin origin is Alhaji Abdulgani Folorunso Abdulrazak, OFR SAN. He was not only called to bar in February 1955, but also emerged as the first learned personality, as lawyers often call themselves, produced in the whole of northern Nigeria.
Ilorin ni wàláyé, Ilorin ni ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ.
This is the country home of AGF Abdulrazak, as he was popularly known, an outstanding legal luminary. He was the first lawyer of the defunct northern Nigeria. No doubt he has contributed immensely to the advancement of the profession in the country.
He became the first senior advocate of Nigeria, produced by the North in 1985.
AGF Abdulrazak, being the first legal practitioner in the North and the first Ilorin man to be a lawyer, his life has influenced most of us. Then imagine lawyers that you want to emulate his ways as a legal practitioner. Not only was he the first in the North, but his practice, he ventures into, nowadays they will say constitutional lawyer. He ventured into something that is related to politics, like representing the North. Before, I've forgotten the name of the commission, Wilkinson or something commission, about the boundary between the North and the South. And there were a lot of mobilization of young men, including ourselves, to fight that Ilorin should be part of the North. He wanted Ilorin to cover Ogbomoso here. But at the end of the day, they made it at Ote. While most of us believe it is not the right thing, because if you go to Ote and what's the next village? I can't remember the name. They are basically Ilorin people, but they are, at the end of the day, they are in the West. The issue for us young men is that we find somebody who is so knowledgeable and so interested in protecting the affairs of Ilorin. I can remember all of us who are mobilized and we used to sing Sokoto láti wá kìí ṣe ìlú ọ̀pẹ àwọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀sìn. That was the song gbogbo àwa ọmọ kéékèèké tí a mọ̀ nǹkan gbà yìí. And behind him,
Our father, the late AGF Razak SAN, was a most distinguished lawyer. As we all know, he was the first lawyer from northern Nigeria. He distinguished himself in government and in the practice of law.
The success of Alhaji AGF Abdulrazak undoubtedly propelled his younger compatriot to follow suit. By 1960, Ilorin produced a second lawyer in person of Justice Babatunde Belgore.
ó ti yá nílé ibẹ̀ gan rẹ̀ ká lọ mú mi àlùbáríkà ṣéwù muhammadu bí gan rẹ̀ ṣéwù mahamudu bí gan rẹ̀ ṣéwù ahmadu baálé ṣéwù yusufu bí gan rẹ̀ kó tó wá kan bàbá tóní ṣéwù muhammadu bí gan rẹ̀.
History of judiciary in Nigeria will not be completed without referencing the great Belgores. This is the country home of the great Belgores, who produced the second lawyer in person of late Honorable Justice Mahmoud Babatunde Belgore and Honorable Justice Saliu Modibo Alpha Belgore, the first Chief Justice of Nigeria from Ilorin. Justice Hembi Belgore was the first Northern Nigerian to sit on a federal bench in 1973. He retired as the longest-serving Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria in 2001.
Our father, the late Justice Babatunde Belgore, I will say that I even had a special relationship with him, in the sense that when I was at the law school, I stayed with him. I lived in his house on here in Koyi on Cameron Road, and he retired as the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. He was a most distinguished jurist, and he was one of those who developed the Federal High Court, because the Federal High Court was founded, I think, in 1976 or so, and I think he was a pioneer judge of the court, and he became CJ at some point and retired as CJ. So he was part and parcel of the foundation and the development of the court. I was very privileged to have appeared before him in person and with and as a junior with my late principal, the late Chief Kainde Shofola.
The third modern jurist produced by Ilorin was the late Justice Saidu Kawu CON.
ẹjẹ́ àlọ́lé ìkòkòrò kálọ́mù mi àlùbáríkà àṣẹ́yìkù Abubakar àṣẹ́yìkù Mahmudu ṣẹ́yìkù náà Ahmadu ọmọ ìkòkòrò.
This is Ikokoro, the country home of the third northern jurist produced in Ilorin, who was born in 1928 and died in 2013. He became a jurist in 1962. He was the first Chief Judge of Kwara State and maintained the position from 1974 to 1984, before he was deservedly moved to the Supreme Court, where he retired in 1993.
Justice Saidu Kawu was everybody's role model as the perfect gentleman, the distinguished public officer. Okay, he carried himself with so much dignity, and I think a lot of people will want to know him from that. And he had an unblemished judicial career. Alhaji AGF Razak was the first lawyer.
I came to Kwara in 1978. My Lord Justice Kawu was the CJ. He was a father. He was friendly. He was kind. He was nice. He was encouraging. He was a motivator. And sometimes I want to thank God that he was one of those who encouraged me to be a senior advocate. And I will never forget that.
The late Honorable Justice Mustapha Adebayo Akombi was the first Ilorin indigene to study law and the pioneer chairman of the ICPC. And here is his country home.
Justice Muhammad Mustapha Adebayo Akombi CFR is the fourth Ilorin indigene to hold a degree in law. He was called to bar in 1963. Justice Akombi, the pioneer chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practice Commission (ICPC) and one of the Nigeria's most respected jurists, is the first Kwaran to be elevated to an appellate court. He was the third president of the Court of Appeal and the first Nigerian judge of such status to voluntarily retire from the bench.
For Justice Akombi, oh yes, he was a father in a million. He was an encourager, he was a motivator, he was a mentor. He was somebody who will quietly call you. If he heard anything negative about you, he quietly call you. I heard this about you. You either admit it, or you deny it, or you explain it. And he had open hearts. He was a friend of the young lawyers. So for me, knowing such a people was a great honor and privilege for me.
Justice Mustapha Akombi, anybody who knows him to be a very straight talking person. If you meet Justice Mustapha Akombi, within 2 minutes, you will know exactly the kind of person he is. He says it straight, like it or not. That is not his business, but it's honest. And a very, very good and distinguished jurist.
The Honorable Justice Soli Modibo Alpha Begore, CON, GCON, who was called to bar in 1964, has the record of being the highest-ranking judicial official produced by the great city of Ilorin. He is the only member of the first generation of this eminent jurist who was a judge throughout his career, which lasted between 1964 and 2007. He started as a magistrate and creditably distinguished himself by passing through all the layers of the nation's judiciary before meritoriously attaining the pinnacle of his noble career as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Honorable Justice S.M.A. Belgore is the first and only CJN produced by Kwara State. He is also the first from the north-central Nigeria, the third from northern Nigeria, and the eighth Nigerian to hold the inevitable of the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
I want to talk about Justice Salim Modibo Belgore. He became a Supreme Court judge. He started his life in the judiciary. I can remember when I was in Zaria, in secondary school, to be precise, Barewa College. He was a magistrate in Zaria. Then we used to go to him at the weekend. We would eat, do everything, and he would be asking us who will be a lawyer among you. We were just in secondary school. Not many of us thought of the profession. He rose to the High Court. From there, the Court of Appeal and then to Supreme Court, and he became the judge, the chief judge of Nigeria. That is a feat that not many people can achieve. So it deserves a mention. In addition, that today I'm a lawyer and I made a success out of it, made name, made money, is courtesy Justice Begore. When I finished my HSC, what was in my mind is to read political science. And by accident, I met him with Justice Wiz. And during our discussion, he asked me, what do you want to do? I said, political science. He said, why? I said, because I like politics. He said, if you like politics, go and read law to play politics. That if you read political science, you will work in government and they can sack you anytime if you become uncontrollable. But if you read law, you can be independent, you can say whatever you want, and they will even respect you and fear you.
kó tó wá dórí bàbá tó ní aláṣẹ Ìlọrin pátápátá mo bí tọwọ́tọwọ́ dárúkọ Ṣẹ́yíkùnà Ibrahim Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká rí yín pẹ́ wọ́n láwọn tá a dárúkọ jẹ́ káwa náà lè rí pa lọ́la mú ọmọ Yásìn Ìlọrin ní wàláhì Ìlọrin ní ó ti yá.
I am here at the palace of the Emir of Ilorin. The class of plenary jurists in Ilorin will not be meaningfully enumerated without referencing the glorious achievements of the Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, CFR.
Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, CFR, who made history as the first indigene of Ilorin to obtain a master's degree in law. That was in 1967. He was called to bar in 1968. He thereafter served as the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary to the defunct Gongola State Ministry of Justice. He was also a judge of the High Court of Borno State before his promotion to the Court of Appeal in 1983, making him the third indigene of Ilorin to serve as a justice of the Court of Appeal. He was also the presiding judge of the Lagos Division of the Appellate Court and the third highest ranking justice of the Court of Appeal, as at the time he was appointed as the 11th Emir of Ilorin in 1995.
I give you a story. His Royal Highness, the Emir of Ilorin, told me that he went to Offa Grammar School because of the late Justice M.B. Belgore. And when he got out of Offa Grammar School, he wanted to become a lawyer because of the late Justice M.B. Belgore. And when he studied law and came back, he spoke to his dad, the late Emir. And his dad said to him, listen, you already know what you should do. Go and meet your Egbo, meaning Justice M.B. Belgore. And he said that was how he then got into the federal civil service. And from there, he then became a judge. So, and I think that is one story that I know because His Royal Highness told me himself. But I can say that is the story with almost everybody in Ilorin. I'm not saying as regards M.B. Belgore, but I'm just saying that they see role models.
Worthy of mentioning is the exploit of Alhaji Aliyu Alarakwe Salman, SAN, a two-term national president of the influential Ilorin Emirate Descendants Progressive Union, was born in 1942. He graduated from the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria in 1967. He was subsequently called to bar in 1968. He acclaimed doyen of the Ilorin bar, was appointed a senior advocate of Nigeria in 1987, along with the chief Afe Babalola, which made him the first alumnus of ABU Zaria to be so decorated. He is also the second Kwaran who will wear the silk. Alhaji Salman was also the first Kwara resident lawyer to be so honored between 1975 and 1978.
The pride of people like AJF Abrazak, people like the current Emir of Ilorin, one of the referred judges of the Court of Appeal, and of course the Begores at the Supreme Court and both at the Court of Appeal. They remain our stars of today, and they were the ones that nurtured most of us. We were looking at them, we valued them, we referred them, and that has made us what we are today, and we are on their footsteps. Today we are proud, I'm an SAN today. There are some you have mentioned, the Akabis, the Begores, the late Emir of Ilorin, the current Emir of Ilorin, is one of my referred father who gives me pride almost anywhere I go. And of course, he relates to me almost at every step of my legal profession. And I relate to me even up to today. The current Emir of Ilorin, one of the most referred jurists of our time. So they remain they remain our reference up to today. And even for the younger ones that have come behind us.
Because of our background in Islamic education, in Arabic education, so people tend to understand law more, and that because of our forefathers and in that particular profession, so we younger ones want to be like them, and we move into it.
Apart from the late Honorable Justice Saidu Kawu and Honorable Justice S.M.A. Belgore, 3 other indigents of Ilorin had served as chief judges of state. They were the charismatic late Honorable Justice Saka Yusuf OFR, who was the acting chief judge of Kano State before his appointment as the chief judge of Kwara State. The indomitable Honorable Justice Raliatu Elelu Habib, the first female lawyer and jurist of Kwara State origin who succeeded Yusuf, and of course, level-headed Honorable Justice Suleiman Durosilong Kawu OFR, the immediate past Chief Judge of Kwara State. The impact of the people of Ilorin Emirates on the dispensation of Islamic jurisprudence is also astonishing. Several indigents of Ilorin Emirates had served as Grand Qadis of Kwara State. This included the Honorable Justice Abdulkadri Orire CON, who served between 1974 and 1999 when he retired, Justice Abdul Muttalib Ahmad Ambali OFR, who served between 1999 and 2008, Justice Abdulkadri Oba Imam Fulani OON, as well as Justice Idris Abdullahi Harun, who retired in 2013, succeeded by Justice Saliu Olon Toyin Muhammad, who retired in 2016, as well as the late Justice Shehu Abdubaki, who acted as the Grand Qadi before his retirement and subsequent death. The immediate past Grand Qadi of the State's Justice, Abdulkadri Ola Muhammad, and the current Grand Qadi of the State's Justice, Abdul Latif Kamaldeen, a scion of the family of the pioneer Grand Mufti of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Kamaldeen Al-Adabi. Some other distinguished judges produced by Ilorin Emirates include Justice Hamad Olariwaju Belgore and Justice Mudasiru Oniyogi, who are currently Justice of the Court of Appeal. The list of the juries also include Justice Saliu Saidu, retired, and Justice Bolaji Belgore, both of the Federal High Court, as well as the Honorable Justice Lambo Jimo, retired. Also, Ilorin has a growing list of state high court judges. What is the future holds for the legal profession in Ilorin?
The prospect of young lawyers of today in tomorrow Ilorin vis-a-vis the practice of law in Ilorin. The young lawyers of today have read about our forefathers who have practiced the law in the past. We have understood how they prospered. We are here today watching our seniors, most respected seniors, practicing the law before us. We are also learning from them. And we are putting all this together to ensure that the tomorrow is the best. Because I would say, law practice in Ilorin in the past was good. The law practice in Ilorin today is better. And the law practice in Ilorin tomorrow will be the best. I'm saying this not only historically as it relates to Ilorin, but also in the community of other cities in the country.
Today it's also good, and we hope for a better tomorrow. Of course, I must say that nowadays there are so much challenges which could impede the future of the profession in this city, and just like many other cities in the country. There are so many challenges now coming especially from economic realities. Things are not in the best of shapes, and this is impacting upon the earnings of lawyers, and it's even influencing some not to behave in line with the ethics of the profession. One only hopes that this will not affect the tomorrow of the practice in this city and by extension in Nigeria as a whole.
And going forward, looking at the future, I can assure you that Ilorin hold the haste in this country for development and even peace. You will discover that most of the trouble areas, especially in the north, the people coming to us, most of them are coming to settle in Ilorin because of the peaceful environment that we enjoy. And that's why the name of the state is the state of harmony. So many people are coming in to settle here. And so for so long as that one continues, Ilorin will continue to expand. As long as Ilorin continue to expand, then there will be more commercial activities, more development, more industrial activities, which means more people are more lawyers. And given the rate at which the present government is going in terms of infrastructural development and facilities.
The story of Ilorin Emirate in the legal profession is unending, but the impact on the Nigerian legal community is worthy of enumeration. Welcome to Ilorin, the home of the learned silk and gown.
Ibi tí a bá pè lórí a kò gbọ́dọ̀ fi tẹ́lẹ̀, ó ti yá nílé àfáàgbà àṣehùn mọ́làmù sọ́ọ́líwọ̀n mùkánábì àfáàlímì nígbà tí ṣéwù wálímì kú ní 1831.